A federal judge has ruled that Donald Trump must hand over 8 years worth of his personal taxes. And of course, the prosecutors looking for those taxes are in Manhattan, the district attorney there. Now, of course, Trump is going to appeal this decision. Who knows whether or not we're gonna get a chance to see Trump's taxes before the election. But here is what we know from the judge's ruling. Judge Victor Marrero ruled that Trump cannot stop his accounting firm from complying with a subpoena requiring them to turn over 8 years worth of tax documents over to District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr. In fact, the judge wrote this in his decision: the court cannot endorse such a categorical and limitless assertion of presidential immunity. The expansive notion of constitutional immunity invoked here to shield the president from judicial process would constitute an overreach of executive power.
So let me explain that in layman's terms. So the president's team went in there and said, the president cannot be held accountable on federal, state, or local charges of any sort. Not only can you not convict him, you can't even bring him to trial. Not only can you not bring him to trial, you can't even ask about it. You can't subpoena, you can't get evidence, etc. So the judge very rightfully and obviously said, so you're claiming the president of the United States of America is completely and utterly above the law. And that is not in essence, that is exactly their argument. And he said, yeah, no, that's not how our Constitution works. Not even close. The Trump team thought they were being clever. Not the first time, won't be the last time. And it turns out they weren't. Not the first time, won't be the last time. They're like, we're gonna rush the judge to a decision. He's like, okay, so here's my decision. Obviously unconstitutional, totally wrong. Yes, they can subpoena your tax records for a state matter. Oops.
He's fighting so hard to prevent the release of his tax returns. And I think that there's a reason for that. Now, you have prosecutors in Manhattan who are subpoenaing his tax returns. Then you have an issue with a whistleblower that hasn't really gotten much attention. Now, we've talked about him on the show, him or her, we don't know who the whistleblower is. But this whistleblower drew attention to the fact that Donald Trump might be trying to influence the IRS's audit of his taxes. So let me give you the details on this individual. In an August 8th letter to Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal said his panel received information from a federal employee on July 29th that included credible allegations of, quote, inappropriate efforts to influence the IRS mandatory program of auditing presidents and vice presidents. The Washington Post noted that the whistleblower is an IRS employee who said he was told that at least once Treasury Department political appointee tried to interfere with an audit of Trump or Vice President Pence's tax returns. So that's pretty big.
Yeah, so there's two parts to the story. One is how potentially gigantic that could be. But more maddening is the Democrats. So you have a whistleblower from inside the IRS saying he's trying to mess with the IRS audits, which is an actual IRS controversy, unlike the one that the Republicans cooked up against Obama, which later was proven to be completely incorrect. Now, what does Richard Neal do with that? He is one of the most powerful Democrats in Congress. He's the head of the House Ways and Means Committee. They hold the budget. So it's the most important committee, easily. You know, he has not yet interviewed the whistleblower. You just saw right there, the complaint came in July 29th. What are you doing? What are you waiting for? This is the same guy that took over 4 months to ask for Donald Trump's federal tax returns. People are like, why won't you ask for the tax returns? We're running out of time. And finally, begrudgingly, he's like, is it too late? I hope it's too late. Hopefully the courts will gum this up and we'll never get to see Trump's tax returns. I think it's too late, so I'm finally gonna ask in April. But you say, hey, Cenk, that's not fair. Maybe he's just the slowest man on earth and it took him 4 months to go, please give me tax returns. Okay, it's not that hard, it's definitely not that complicated. If you were driven to do it, you could be really careful and get it done in a week, okay? So now, but it's not arguable anymore because the state of New York said, here, they passed a law saying, you can take Donald Trump's New York state tax returns. And the only person that could ask for him, though, is the head of the House Ways and Means Committee, because they don't want it to be a political football. They're like, if you're investigating Donald Trump and you are worried about his business ties, for example, with Russia, where his kids say they've got, quote, all their money, okay? That would be relevant, wouldn't it? Richard Neal didn't ask for it. He waited weeks and weeks, and then Trump sued New York and gummed it up in the courts. Richard Neal's like, oh, it's too late? Great. He still hasn't asked for it. Richard Neal is for inexplicable reasons, is the biggest protector of Donald Trump in the country.
Yeah, which is ironic because
he's a Democrat.
No, he's a Democrat. And the reason why I say it's ironic is because on one hand, you have these insanely weak Democrats who won't really pursue real investigations into Donald Trump and specifically his financial dealings, right? And his violations of the emoluments clause. And then on the other hand, you have Donald Trump who's constantly whining and crying about a Democratic witch hunt. No, but I mean, there is no witch hunt. They have been so timid in pursuing investigations against him. The only thing that they were aggressive on, sort of, was the Mueller investigation.
Yeah, and then what did they do afterwards?
Nothing.
Yeah, then Mueller says, okay, yeah, he did violate the law. He obstructed justice 10 times. And then Pelosi goes, oh, that's really interesting information. We'll now help him cover it up by not doing anything. So then everybody will assume he didn't do anything wrong, exactly. Even though you just gave me 10 clear instances of him breaking the law. So I don't know what it is with Pelosi and Neal. We're forced to speculate because of their inexplicable actions. There must be something wrong in their tax returns, in Richard Neal's tax returns. I don't know. I'm speculating because it is a maniacal reluctance to ask for the one thing that almost every Democratic voter wants. His tax returns, and New York gave it to you on a silver platter, and you didn't take it. There is no excuse for not having talked to the whistleblower yet. What on God's green earth are you waiting for? Anyway, look, Richard Neal is a bum. He's not the resistance, he's the assistance. I can't stand these weak, corrupt Democrats. Throw the bum out, throw the bum out. You know where he is? He's in Massachusetts. He's not in Arkansas. He's not from Alabama. There's no excuse about red districts or purple districts. He's doing it for some sort of cover up that honestly, I have no idea what it is. But there's no way that he's a legitimate, honest actor that absolutely refuses to investigate Donald Trump when he's the one guy who could do it. So luckily there's a Justice Democrat in his race, okay? Democratic primary, it's a blue district. Instead of having a corrupt Democrat, you could have a progressive fighter that actually wants to fight Republicans instead of kiss their ass like Richard Neal does. So his name is Alex Morse. And so, look, these are my opinions. Alex is tough on him too. Nobody's tougher than I am. I don't know if he cares about me being polite or not. I don't give a damn. Richard Neal is corrupt. You should throw that bum out. Go to justicedemocrats.com/Morse. How do you know Alex is okay? He doesn't take corporate PAC money. He doesn't have problems with his tax returns. So that's why he won't be like Richard Neal, like, oh no, Donald Trump, oh no, I don't want your tax returns. God damn it, I'm so sick of these weak and corrupt Democrats. Get them all out. And now if in Washington, they see stuff like this, they're like, oh, we knew it. The Just Democrats are actually trying to clean up Washington. Goddamn right we are. And so if you're gonna keep protecting Donald Trump, yes, we are gonna make a list. And yes, we are going to primary you because you helped the Republican Party. We would like you to be a Democrat. And then ironically, they'll turn around and go unity, unity. Don't primary any Democrats while we're trying to do unity with Donald Trump. No, I'm not interested in that unity. I'm interested in getting Donald Trump's goddamn tax returns because he's a lifelong criminal. His sons have said publicly, we got all of our money from the Russians. You think maybe given that he obstructed a case where you would find out something about his connections to the Russians, you might want to find out maybe his business connections to the Russians, which Richard Neal could find out but chose not to? Nah, Neal's 100% part of the corruption. You'd be nuts to let Richard Neal ever be a Democratic representative again. You have a choice, make it. Throw the bum out. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.